Millions of naira spread out before them. James was deep in illegal dealings, swindling people, laundering money, even setting up a plan to eliminate someone who had crossed him. "Once we're done, I'll disappear," James said, laughing. "I'll leave that woman and travel far away. She's useless to me now." Fumi, sitting in a shadowed corner, felt her world collapse. She was nothing to him. Just a pawn. Her fingers shook as she gripped her phone under the table.
In the bustling city of Abuja, lived Deo and Fumi, the perfect couple. Their marriage was the kind everyone admired. Fumi had always been the perfect wife, devoted, loving, and loyal. She adored her husband, Deo, and believed he felt the same. Deo, in the other hand, his love was grand, extravagant, showering her with expensive gifts, sweet words, and endless affection. Their marriage was the kind everyone admired. But there was one thing Deo didn't know. Fumi could hear. She had never been deaf, but due to an accident she had as a child, she learned to read lips and adapted to a quiet world. People assumed she was completely unable to hear, and she let them believe it. Deo was no different. One evening, as she sat in their luxurious living room, flipping through a magazine, she heard his voice, low, husky, and dripping with charm. He was on the phone, laughing, flirting. "I can't wait to see you, baby. My wife, oh, don't worry about her. She's just there. She doesn't even know what's going on." Fumi's hands trembled. She felt something inside her shatter. The love she thought was real had been a lie. For weeks, she pretended, smiling as he kissed her, cooking his favorite meals, acting like the devoted wife. But behind closed doors, she listened, piecing together every sordid detail of his double life. Deo was cheating on her with multiple women, whispering sweet lies into their ears just as he had once done with her. And then, she discovered something far worse. Late one night, she overheard a conversation that made her blood run cold. Two dangerous-looking men sat in their private study room, discussing money. Deo sits on a leather chair, with lots of cash spread across the table as they planned their next move. Deo was deep in illegal dealings, swindling people, laundering money, even setting up a plan to eliminate someone who had crossed him. "Once we're done, I'll disappear," Deo said, laughing. "I'll leave that woman and travel far away. She's useless to me now." Fumi, sitting in a shadowed corner, felt her world collapse. She was nothing to him, just a pawn. Her fingers shook as she gripped her phone under the table, texting her mother, "Call the police, now." Minutes felt like hours. The men continued their conversation, oblivious to her presence, believing she was in her silent world. Then, sirens, red and blue lights flashed through the windows. "Police!" A voice boomed. Panic exploded in the room. The men bolted, knocking over the table, scattering money everywhere. Deo's eyes widened in horror as he realized what was happening. "Run!" one of the men yelled. They dashed for the back door only to be met by officers. Guns drawn, freeze. Deo fell to his knees, shaking, his perfect world crumbling. Fumi stood, her heart pounding, watching as he turned to her, confusion in his eyes. "Fumi, how did you?" She took a deep breath and whispered, "I heard everything." His face paled. Deo thought he had everything under control. A loyal wife, a luxurious life, and secrets buried deep. He believed Fumi was deaf, unaware of his affairs and criminal dealings. But he was wrong. Fumi had heard everything. Every flirtation, every betrayal, every evil plan. Even when he plotted to abandon her and escape with his wealth. When she made her move, one text, one call, and in an instant, the police stormed in. As he was dragged away with his accomplices, he stared at Fumi with sad face. He had underestimated her. He thought she was weak. Fumi stood outside their mansion, watching as they took him away. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Fumi had known about his affairs long before, but she had waited. And when she had the chance, she didn't just take revenge. She destroyed his entire empire. He thought he could fool her, but in the end, he was the fool. That day, everything changed, exposing his crimes to the world. The media feasted on the scandal, a rich businessman caught in fraud and betrayal. Stay clean. Lies will always catch up with you. And above all, trust yourself, because not everyone you love is truly with you. The end.